yesterday. We'll speak to the management as well later in the day, but also get a sense of the industry as well. They were on a roll yesterday. Government tightened import conditions for certain paper and paperboard products. To discuss the impact and understand the development, we are now joined by Naveen Kumar, who's the Associate Director, CareEdge Ratings, joining us now. Mr. Kumar, good morning. Thank you so much for joining in. Well, government has tightened import conditions for import of certain types of papers. There are concerns as well that some of these are sold below cost as well in the industry, and it is impacting the domestic industry. First up, if you can tell us which kind of papers are covered under this and what kind of imports were we seeing so far? Is it that big that it would actually threaten the domestic industry?
Thank you. First of all, I just thought of, presenting a little bit of, industry market on how actually the dynamics works out here. About 55% of the entire market comprises of the paperboard. And this is a segment where actually the government has imposed a minimum import price. So what we see is that the last 2 years of trend I'm just explaining to you, the net sales realization for this paperboard has come down from 79,500 rupees per metric ton to 66,300 rupees per metric ton. And in the Q1, if we see, it has come down further to 64,000 rupees per metric ton for the domestic market, for the domestic players. So whereas the one which we are seeing of the imports, it is further lower than that. So what is happening is that on the one side, actually last year we have seen the significant increase in the wood pulp prices, about 19%. And on the other side, that these realizations are coming, and it has significantly impacted the margins, where we see that the margins of across the industry has come down by about 500 basis points. Now, in order to protect the domestic manufacturers in the paper and the paperboard industry, the government has now introduced the minimum import price, and they marked it at 67,220 rupees. So now the current domestic sales price realization is about 64,000. So this particular gap which is there is actually, about 5% gap is going to get benefited by the domestic players. That is one part. And second part, what we are seeing is that now we are seeing that the wood pulp prices are moderating. The kind of an escalation in the wood price which we have seen in FY25 in the Q1 and in the Q2, it has moderated to a significant extent. So both of these, to a great extent, are going to protect the margins of the industry. So overall, what we are going to see is that the margins for the entire industry is expected to grow by about 300 to 350 basis points. And now this is also, one more, concerning point which was there behind this minimum import, what's the price to be installed by the government is that if we see, in FY25, the total imports have increased across various countries by 11%. Whereas from China, it has increased in terms of the value by 24%, whereas in terms of volume, it has grown by 33%. So what we are seeing is that now year on year, these imports are consistently increasing, and is significantly hurting the margins and also the operating performance of the domestic players. And this move by the government is very much welcomed, and we hope that it is going to give some kind of respite for the domestic paper manufacturers. So especially the board manufacturers are going to get benefited.
So can you share the names of the key players in this segment, particularly this virgin fiber paperboard business, Naveen, and what is their total TAM, if you could address that as well?
I'm extremely sorry. Actually, we actually remain ourselves, quiet when it comes to actually disclosing about the company details. However, we see that now about, if we see top 20 players, probably about 10 to 12 players are in the paperboard industry, whereas remaining 8 players are purely into paper. So the paperboard industries, or the companies which are in the paperboard, they are going to get benefited. Whereas the remaining companies, are going to get some kind of impact. But now when we see the moderation in terms of the raw material prices, it is going to benefit them also.
Okay. Just to follow up, Mr. Kumar, you mentioned that 55% of the total paper market is from the paperboard industry. Can you confirm that? So that's a big chunk of the market which is going to get a big benefit then.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, all right. If you cannot name the players in the listed space or unlisted space, I just wanted to understand how big of the Indian manufacturers market is, what my colleague asked as well, in the paperboard industry, and what was the volume that we were importing so far? You mentioned China was higher. There was other places as well where we were importing from. If there is a number of how much imports we were doing of paperboard?
Yeah. So total in terms of the value, India was been exporting, last year in FY25, India has exported 6,188 crores of the total amount, and out of it, the China itself was contributing 31%.
Naveen, the industry is not out of the woods yet. The first
Yes.
quarter also was nothing to write home about when it comes to the results of these paper companies. But with whatever you have highlighted so far and with these measures announced, do you see that the second half is going to be better? May not be this quarter itself, because we are already almost coming to the end of this one as well. So we are 2/3 of the way in. But maybe from the second half of FY26, do you expect the tide to turn, if not materially, at least a slightly better performance compared to H1?
See, I would like to tell that now Q2 also we are going to see some kind of, uptick in the margins part. Why? Because when we see the wood pulp prices, which are the domestic wood pulp prices, which are there, they have remain stable. That's one good thing. Second thing is that the imported pulp, which is that is that has now come down by 9%. And whereas waste paper prices were there, they are also remain like same, maybe like 5%. It has increased. So overall, when we see these aspects, so on the other side, now the domestic demand is also increasing because we see that growth in the FMCG segment, e-commerce segment, pharmacy, and all. So this is going to aid in terms of the volume part. So and this imposition part of the minimum import price is going to aid from the say Q3 onwards. What you said is right, but Q2 also we are going to see some kind of uptick in terms of the margins.
All right, take that point, Mr. Kumar. Thank you so much for joining us and explaining to us the dynamics of the industry overall and how this minimum import price could impact the industry overall. So that's the word coming in from CareEdge. They say the industry will tend to benefit. Prices have fallen sharply, so there could be an improvement in margins. 5% benefit to the pricing overall for the domestic manufacturers right now. We'll slip into a short break. Up next, we'll put focus on the crypto market with Manisha Gupta on the other side.